Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Athens City Council voted against a measure to build a connecting road that would alleviate traffic on East State Street. Good evening, I'm Mackenzie Pyatt.
And I'm Sean Neidig. Thanks for joining us. The Athens City Council and city committees approved amendments to accommodate bed and breakfast. City Council approved the amendments last night to the municipal income tax code involving the transient guest tax. A 6% tax is taken out by any facility which allows paid overnight guests, such as hotels and motels. The code states that bed and breakfast will be allowed in specific zones within the city. These include zones for multifamily homes and zones approved for businesses. According to the code, they are allowed to serve breakfast, but not required to.
An Ohio sheriff says he believes whoever killed 8 family members near Piketon in April were from the area and not from out of town. Pike County Sheriff Charles Reeder made these comments in Cincinnati yesterday. 7 adults and 1 teenage boy, all from the Roden family, were found shot to death at 4 homes on April 22nd. 3 of the crime scenes were discovered to have marijuana operations.
I consider everyone a suspect now, but to me, there is no indication that the Mexican drug cartel is involved in this homicide whatsoever.
So you're saying that the suspects likely either live in Pike County or in the area somewhere nearby?
Yes, that is my belief.
Attorney General Mike DeWine has also said previously that the killers had to be familiar with the area and the property.
A Gloucester man is going to jail after being indicted on rape charges. 40-year-old Terry L. Smathers was indicted Monday on 2 counts of rape, felonies of the first degree. The charges allege that Smathers engaged in sexual contact with a 9-year-old girl on 2 separate occasions, January 11th and August 11th of this year. He was issued a $500,000 bond and is scheduled for arraignment in Athens County Common Pleas Court Wednesday, October 26th. He is currently being held in the Southeast Ohio Regional Jail. A man is sentenced to 20 years in prison on several charges, including assault of an officer. Randall Hutchinson was accused of shooting a policeman in the arm before he was struck by a vehicle that was being driven by another officer. The confrontation started when police attempted to search Hutchinson's home in 2014. Hutchinson entered an Alford plea, meaning he doesn't admit guilt, but acknowledges that prosecutors had enough evidence to convict him.
1,600 acres of Wayne National Forest are up for auction for oil and gas drilling. The land in the Marietta unit of the forest is scheduled to be auctioned on December 13th. On Friday, a decision by the district manager for the Bureau of Land Management of no significant impact, covering 40,000 acres in the Marietta unit. Dean Gettinger, the district manager, said that the auction will not affect the human environment. Southern Ohio has a new U.S. attorney for its district. 41-year-old Benjamin Glassman was sworn in by Attorney General Loretta Lynch recently in Washington. The district includes Columbus, Cincinnati, and Dayton. And Glassman had been the acting attorney since March. Glassman is a Cincinnati native and had been an assistant U.S. attorney since 2005. Glassman will serve as the attorney for Southern Ohio until February.
And welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Chris Arbino, and abnormally large high pressure has led to high temperatures across the region today. Maybe seen some record heat across the region. We saw temperatures surging to about 85 degrees today. I want to go ahead and start with your overnight lows tonight. Temperatures will fall to about 66 degrees, 64 in Marietta, a little bit cooler toward north around Columbus and Newark, falling about 60 degrees. Should be an overall nice night out tonight. Maybe look for some showers building in around 4 a.m. Tomorrow morning. So looking at your looking at your overnight lows for tomorrow night, 66 in Athens, 62 in New Lexington, 60 in Newark, 60 in Columbus as well. It should be a pretty nice night. Maybe some rain to our north as well. And finally, we're going to go ahead and look at our hour by hour for tonight. Temperatures should fall into the mid 60s, and we will see maybe some rain around 4 a.m. or so. And Sean, I don't know about you, but I'm done with these high temperatures in the upper 80s. I think I'm ready for the temperatures to fall back into the 70s and the fall weather.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Thanks, Chris. A Republican candidate for Hancock County Sheriff in West Virginia is guilty of using excessive force while he was a sheriff's lieutenant. Mark Cowden was found guilty of 1 count of deprivation of rights for an altercation that happened in January of 2015. The evidence showed that Cowden threw a handcuffed, drunken driving suspect into a brick wall and then punched him in the head. Cowden now faces up to 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Cowden was also found not guilty of falsifying documents.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency must now evaluate the impact their air pollution regulations have had on power-generating jobs. After a judge ruling yesterday, U.S. District Judge Bailey ruled that the EPA must comply with the federal code requiring it to evaluate its regulations. Murray Energy Corporation and subsidiaries claim the agency's actions have had a coercive effect on the coal mining industry. A Southwest Ohio Village man is currently not facing charges after the removal of 130 animals from his home. Dogs, goats, chickens, sheep, and rabbits were removed from the backyard of a Fayetteville home on Monday after an odor complaint. Some animals were found dead while others were barely alive due to the filthy conditions and lack of space. Deputy Dog Warden for Brown County Animal Shelter Barb Ashmore says the homeowner told officials he was going to feed his family on the animals.
Republican Governor Matt Bevin has been ordered to release $17.8 million to most public colleges and universities in Kentucky. Bevin had previously ordered cuts of 2% from the schools, but the state legislature did not approve them. The money will be divided among the universities of Kentucky and Louisville, Eastern Kentucky, Morehead State, Murray State, Northern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and the Kentucky Community and Technical College System. A fire at Marshall University's football stadium is ruled as arson. The flames spread up a light tower and portable restrooms and hand-washing stations, then caught fire. The damage could possibly affect the start time for Saturday's game against Charlotte. A reward of $5,000 is being offered to anyone with information leading to an arrest with connection with the fire at the Joan C. Edwards Stadium.
A haunted house in Sandusky is being forced to make changes because of the clown phenomenon all over the country. Melissa Reed has the story on what visitors of the Lake Erie Fear Fest can expect this year.
Lake Erie Fear Fest in Sandusky is a Halloween staple in Northeast Ohio.
We have upwards of 100 actors. We use a lot of high startle animatronic props.
Billy Cristioni runs the Ghostly Manor Thrill Center, which hosts the annual Fear Fest. Cristioni says he was forced to make changes this year thanks to the creepy clown craze.
It does kind of hit us because haunted houses have clowns and stuff like that. We have a clown room in our year-round haunted house, and we have a couple actors that dress up as clowns during Fear Fest.
Now, Cristioni says the actors who dress up as clowns will have less to do. Before,
they would chase the other customers, and the actors would actually pursue them all throughout the venue and stuff like that. Now they're mainly staying up where all the haunted houses are.
Meaning there will be plenty of clowns inside, but not out.
I really don't let them venture too far off site just because of that whole phenomenon. I don't want it to be an issue and somebody to actually get scared and call the cops on.
Lake Erie Fear Fest has not seen a decrease in ticket sales despite the public's obsession with creepy clowns. In fact, they say they are well on track to have record sales this year.
Cristioni predicts this weekend will be their biggest weekend yet. As for telling the actors who play clowns to stay put, he says it was a no-brainer.
Go into the haunted house, stay in the venue. Don't worry about getting the customers in the parking lot just in case. And he just looked at me, he's like, oh yeah, it's probably a good idea. Because everyone knows about it, and they're just like, you know, that's probably the best idea, not to worry about it going a little too far.
The haunted house is open from 7:30 to 11:30 on Fridays and Saturdays, and 7:30 to 9:30 on Sundays. Ticket costs either $15 or $25, and you can buy a fast pass for an extra $10. Syrian residents are getting creative and have turned to alternative fuel methods.
And Mike Pence visits the North Carolina GOP headquarters that was firebombed on Sunday. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
The Italian Prime Minister visited the White House and President Obama this morning, and it didn't take long for the 41-year-old Italian leader to take a swipe at the Republican Party nominee, saying the world is about building bridges, not walls. The main reason for Matteo Renzi's visit was to figure out a referendum that was crucial to determining his future as a leader. Renzi was also the first European leader to back Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton.
A North Carolina Republican office was firebombed early Sunday morning. A flammable material was tossed through the window while the suspects graffitied the building with threats and swastikas. North Carolina is a key swing state in the upcoming general election. According to the Charlotte Observer, one GOP official called it an attack of political terrorism. Mike Pence even weighed in on the destruction earlier today.
I wanted to come by to call attention to this cowardly attack on our supporters in North Carolina, and to no less extent, an attack on the American political system. This was an act of political terrorism. And I have to tell you how inspired I am to see the way this community has come together and the people have come together to continue to move forward, undeterred, unintimidated by this senseless act of violence.
Local police are working with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives to find out who is responsible.
Residents of the Syrian city Aleppo have turned to alternative methods to recreate scarce supplies. While food and other vital supplies are lacking, fuel is another supply in high demand. Residents are now taking the plastic that is strewn over the city and turning it into a usable resource. They are creating the fuel by heating the plastic without oxygen, which turns it into vapor. Once the vapor cools, it condenses into a type of fuel. 1 kilogram of plastic can produce nearly 1 liter of fuel. And on Wall Street today, stocks trended up across the board. Here's a look at stocks of local interest. A new study suggests that work schedules should differ based on your age.
And looking at your weather headlines, we will see some record heat that finally peaked today, temperatures in the mid-80s, but is some rain on the way, followed by a weekend cool down. I'll have your forecast and more right after the break.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
And by all indications today, if you go outside, you see plenty of record heat out there and maybe some reds and yellows in the trees as well. But today it actually felt more like summer. You look at our temperatures right now, 82 at Athens, Ohio, 81 in New Lexington, 80 in Newark as well. So all of us across the region right now sitting about that 80-degree mark. It is a little bit hotter than normal outside, but we will see our temperatures fall back into the normal range going into your weekend. So today, 85 degrees outside. It was a little bit warm, and it actually, if you look at our record set back in 1938, it tied that record, a 78-year-old record that was tied today. You can see where we should be at our normal, about 66 degrees. That was actually our overnight low. Temperatures also there about 17 degrees above normal. But also, if you pay attention, last year, just this time, 2015, we set our record low as well. So kind of some big differences here when we look at our almanac between this year and last year as well. So looking at your hour by hour tonight, clear skies, 76 and 72 going into midnight. Maybe tomorrow around 4 a.m., the 30% chance of rain. I think mainly that will stay to our north around the I-70 corridor. So temperatures overnight tonight, Athens at 66, Ripley at 64, Ironton at 64, Columbus, Newark, you guys might see some extra cloud cover there, so expect some rain in the morning as I mentioned before. And then looking at your precip cast, this is really what we want to break down for you. Down here to this south across Georgia and Florida, you see that high pressure, that's really been bringing in a lot of that moist and warm air across the region. But back here across the Great Lakes and then Illinois, you see that cold front starting to move into the area. That'll progress through central Ohio today, tomorrow, but they'll kind of come to a stop and it'll become a stationary boundary. So what we'll see with that is maybe some repeated threats of showers and thunderstorms Wednesday afternoon. Before Thursday, finally another cold front will come through and push all of that out, but we will see some substantial rain Thursday afternoon, maybe even possibly a rumble of thunder and some strikes of lightning out there for Thursday night as well. So tonight in Athens, 66 degrees as we mentioned, a warm night by all accounts outside. Clouds increasing as we go into our overnight hours with our winds out of the west-southwest at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow morning at the bus stop, 65 degrees outside. Might want to grab a jacket or maybe an umbrella. You're going to see some rain. Warm with some rain moving in, winds out of the south at about 0 to 5 miles an hour. Tomorrow in Athens, 77 degrees. Chance of rain, you see our temps starting to fall. And then looking at your temperatures tomorrow, 76 in Athens, 76 in Newark and Columbus. Ironton a little bit warmer, maybe some more sunshine down across West Virginia south of the Ohio River. So looking at your hour by hour for tomorrow, 8 a.m., 63 degrees, we'll warm up nicely to about 75. Rain chances in the day for most of the day tomorrow. And finally looking at your 7-day forecast, 77 degrees and with a 40% chance of rain. Our best chance of rain looks to be on Thursday with an 80% chance, maybe some rumbles of thunder. But really your weekend looks very, very nice outside. Temperatures falling back into the mid-50s, 60 degrees on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And look at our overnight lows as well, imitating what we see during the day. Temperatures in the 60s down into the low 30s and 40s. And Mackenzie, I don't know about you, but I'm really expecting to see these temperatures back into the fall range. It should feel a whole lot better outside.
All right, thanks, Chris. And we have all heard about studies that say working long hours can be harmful to your health. Well, there's a new study that finds the best work schedule based on your age. Kim Hutcherson has the latest.
Our biological clock has a way of regulating how alert and how sleepy we get over a 24-hour period. And because that cycle can change as we age, working at certain times of the day or night can jeopardize your health. For teens and young adults, later may be better. According to Dr. Jess Shatkin, a psychiatrist at New York University, adolescents tend to go to bed later and wake up later because they release melatonin, a hormone linked to our biological clock, later in the night than adults do. Shatkin says young adults shouldn't start school or work earlier than 9 or 10 a.m. For adults in their 20s and 30s, consistency is key. Studies show the best type of work schedule for people in this group should reflect the person's lifestyle preferences, whether an early bird or a night owl. Deviating from a regular schedule can have negative impacts on health. And for the 40 and older crowd, less is more. A study published by the Melbourne Institute suggests that a 3-day work week could be best for adults over 40. Researchers also found that working about 25 hours a week can improve cognitive performance, but working more than 25 hours can have the opposite effect. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
All right, thanks, Kim. People should avoid overworking themselves as it could be a negative impact on their health.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Justin Holbrook. There's one Ohio team that made program history over the weekend. Stay tuned to see which team it is and what record they set. That story, plus the Ohio volleyball team, is ranked 3rd overall in the MAC. Stay tuned to find out about the latest news regarding 2 members of the team. It's all next on Newswatch. And here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Justin Holbrook. The Ohio volleyball team is rolling right now, having won 4 of their last 5 games, and Mallory Salas is a big reason for that success. The senior was named MAC East Offensive Player of the Week for the 2nd week in a row after 2 strong performances on the road. In Friday's loss to Toledo, Salas tallied 23 kills and 5 digs and got even better the next night. She led the Bobcats to a come-from-behind win over Ball State, racking up a team-high 22 digs and a career-high 25 kills. The team currently sits at 2nd in the MAC East behind Miami. In other team news, sophomore Kat Block decided to leave the team as confirmed by head coach Dean Webb at Monday's press conference. Webb said her reason for leaving was based on academics. The Los Angeles native saw limited playing time this year. Meanwhile, the Ohio men's cross-country team has its highest regional ranking in program history. Ohio is ranked number 11 this week in the USTF CCA Great Lakes Regional Poll on the heels of finishing first out of 20 schools at the NCAA Pre-Nationals. The Bobcats return to action on October 29th when they compete in the MAC Championships at Kent State. The season is also wrapping up soon for the women's golf team. Today, the team placed 5th out of 14 teams at the Dayton Flyer Invitational. Leading the Bobcats was Haley Horenowich, who finished tied for 3rd with a 2-day total of 148. The fall season comes to a close next week when the Bobcats head to Silver Lake, Ohio. The match starts next Monday. After nearly 20 years, the Cleveland Indians are 1 win away from going back to the World Series. Cleveland relied on 6 pitchers from the bullpen to get the win after one of the most unusual starts in playoff history. Starting pitcher Trevor Bauer cut his pinky working on a drone last Friday, and the cut opened back up in the first inning, forcing him out of the game. After giving up a solo shot in the second, the Indians bullpen pitched a masterpiece to give the Tribe a 3-0 series lead. Run support came from the bat of Mike Napoli, who gave the team its first 2 runs. Jason Kipnis gave Cleveland a 3-2 lead with a home run in the 6th, followed by an RBI single from Jose Ramirez later that inning. Game 4 between the Indians and Blue Jays is currently underway. Toronto third baseman Josh Donaldson got his team on the scoreboard first with a solo home run in the bottom of the 3rd. For Cleveland, Roberto Perez doubled to left in the 5th, and that brought home Coco Crisp to shrink Toronto's lead to 2-1. The score is currently 4-1 in the middle of the 8th inning. In the National League, the championship series is tied at 1 apiece, and it's almost time for Game 3 as the Chicago Cubs take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Jake Arrieta will be on the mound for Chicago, coming in with 190 strikeouts this season. Rich Hill will be pitching for Los Angeles after having a successful performance in Saturday's game. The series is tied 1-1, and the Cubs will be looking to keep their historic season in the right direction. The game is scheduled to begin at 8 o'clock tonight. And that's it for sports. Sean, the New York Football Jets got crushed by Arizona, but I heard a different, pretty cool story about Jets that you have.
Yeah, the New York Jets, they looked awful last night, but here's one that certainly doesn't. You know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the U.S. Navy is showing their commitment to the cause. This retired Grumman F9 F8 Cougar is on display on the flight deck of the USS Lexington in Corpus Christi, Texas. If you were wondering, that is not normally what fighter jets look like. This pink paint is not permanent and will be washed off at the end of the month. Now over to Chris for some final weather.
Thanks, John. We want to go ahead and take a look tonight at your temperatures around Athens, Ohio. 66 degrees, maybe some rain late, early tomorrow morning for your bus stop, or a night outside, clouds increasing, winds will be out of west-southwest at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow, basically the same story, a whole lot cooler tomorrow than what we saw today. Temperatures right around 77 degrees, chances of rain on and off all day tomorrow. Our winds will shift to the south, or east rather, at about 0 to 5 miles an hour. And then finally, looking at your 7-day forecast, 70s will dominate Wednesday and Thursday, and then finally on Saturday, we're back into our more seasonal temperatures. We'll see our temperatures climb slightly back into the 60s for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And check out our overnight lows, back it down into the 30s, a whole lot more seasonal outside. Especially Thursday, I want to pay attention to. We could see some showers and thunderstorms across the area, maybe some lingering storms on Friday. But as I said, the weekend looks very, very nice outside, and plenty of sunshine Monday through Tuesday, and we'll go ahead and send it back to the news desk.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Chris. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Sean Neidig.
And I'm Mackenzie Pyatt. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.